I liked it for its little mistakes and that it doesn't sound like a proper club record. Of course, these days I spent a long time on production, and I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to sound. But I also think that it's always really important to have some chaotic elements in the music. Otherwise, it's going to sound too polished and boring. Yeah, so this is how a record looked back in the days. It just says Bunker and Musik aus Strom. Some of those songs were really fast as well, so it kind of makes sense I got into this kind of music after being a Gabba kid, I think. Let's search for... I grew up in a small town in the southeast of Germany before the reunification. At some point, let's say around 92, 93, there was this big wave of electronic music coming over to the east side. But I had some friends who were actually organizing parties at this point. Like those raves, they happened in old warehouses or abandoned industrial places. And we had plenty of it. So there was lots of space, and it was a huge playground, basically.
The music was new, black, polished chrome and came over the summer like liquid night.
There was a fence, we just cut holes through the fence, we went in, we set up sound systems and stuff. Every party would be different, it would sound different, it would be in a different place, and there was this whole lot of freedom that actually made it possible to just experiment. There were laws, but a few years after the reunification, I think even the police didn't really know exactly what's allowed and what's not. So that was the first time when I got connected with something like special, like this kind of underground techno. Back in the days, those DJs played all kinds of music at these parties, but for me, it was always it had to be something raw and equally fucked up. By how I got to know techno music in this surrounding the dirty industrial area, the darkness, whatever, I thought there must be a very rough soundtrack to it. A very, very short time after I went to the first techno party, I decided that this is something I want to do myself. I want to make music myself, and I also like the idea to make those parties on my own. And I bought 2 turntables and I started trying to find records, which wasn't easy at this time because in my hometown there was obviously no record shop. They had these little mail order books, and they had quite a big stock of records from Bunker and Acid Planet. And they were always trying to describe the music in the best possible way. And I was sitting there with my little dictionary because it was in English, and I was trying to figure out what they were talking about. And quite often they talked about distorted acid. I thought that sounded interesting, so I ordered some of these records. and that was just mind-blowing stuff, because I had the idea that this is exactly what I was searching for, and it was actually. I remember the one time where the postman couldn't find me. I didn't hear him, or I wasn't at home for 5 minutes. I don't remember, but he couldn't deliver the records, and I was waiting for them so desperately. So I jumped on my scooter and I was just driving through the whole town. 2 wrong postmen later, I found this guy and I got the records, and I went home and I was like, yeah. So I guess that shows how desperate I was for new music back in the days. Of course, I still really appreciate good music, and that's part of my life. But this feeling is something you can't really get back. One of the first things I got actually was a 606, which is a drum machine that was made by Roland. I mean, let's just start it. So this is already the 606 running right now, and the thing has 7 sounds, so you can do this with other instruments. Okay, this sounds quite dry right now, and what these guys did back in the days, they were connecting it with stomp boxes, like guitar effects, and this is a big muff distortion pedal, and if you switch this on, it instantly sounds much more like a record, like one of these records. Gets a little funky. You could play like a live show with like 3 machines like that, and you're just like turning knobs and everything just flows at some point. I think it's a really nice idea that it was so easy to make music. I think I'm talking about the whole experience as an influence, just because it was, I guess, the whole package that made me partially what I am these days. Not just a certain sound or a certain artist. It was basically the whole feeling of the freedom, and that you could go wherever you want to and just set up a sound system and gather with your friends and have a party.